Hey everyone, this is Anthony,
This is Doug.
and this is Pop Gamer, and we are here with the male voice of Commander Shepard in the Mass Effect series. He's also an accomplished writer, actor, and improv comedian, and of course we're talking about Mr. Mark Meer. Mark, thanks so much for joining us again today.
Thank you for having me.
How does the voice work in Mass Effect compare in scope to a lot of the other work that you've done?
Well, the scope of the project for the Commander Shepard role is, of course, it's far beyond anything that I'd done before, and I think in gaming in general, I mean, the amount of dialogue that needs to be recorded for Shepard is massive. And of course, it gets larger and larger with each game because as you have branching choices, you have so many other possibilities that happen in Mass Effect 2, and then that is expanded even further in Mass Effect 3 because you have all these variables that you have to take into account. For example, someone may have killed Rex in the first game. And so you would never see any of the possibilities with Rex in Mass Effect 2 or 3. However, if you let Rex live, then you've got all these other branching possibilities that could occur.
Wow, so it really is, I can't think of anything else that's really quite...
Detailed.
Yeah, it has been quite that detailed.
Connecting different, parts of the genre or parts of that series together.
Yeah, that's really...
It is like massively groundbreaking just in terms of a player character having a voice, for example, and so it was a real honor to be a part of this project.
So what do you do to prepare for your role as Commander Shepard?
Well, of course, you have to get yourself back into the mindset. Remember the voice that you did, because it might be months or years since you've done the voice. So it's largely psyching yourself up, getting yourself back into the headspace of that character. Of course, Commander Shepard is a very unique character in that the player is largely determining what Commander Shepard is like. Commander Shepard could be anything from a completely selfless, noble hero to an utterly ruthless bastard who does anything it takes to get the job done. And so, you're playing Commander Shepard, but Commander Shepard could be a wide variety of things. Whether his personality, his or her personality, or background is all being determined by the player. And so you have to find what is the core of Shepard. And both Jennifer and Hale and I have that challenge. So ultimately, the core of Shepard, from my point of view, is that Shepard is a military officer, someone who is used to operating under extreme pressure and giving commands in that situation.
Wow, it must be a lot of, I don't know if it's freedom for you, but as an actor, to be able to go into a scene, do that scene, and then they say, well, do that scene again, but this time Renegade, right? I mean...
Yeah, and beyond that, it's not always just, this is the Renegade, this is the Paragon, because a lot of dialogue choices are going to share the same, Renegade and Paragon are going to share the same dialogue for certain bits. And you also have people, people generally tend not to play complete Renegade or complete Paragon. Some people do. But generally, people are role-playing as Shepard and deciding, depending on the situation, what response they're going to give. So you have to make all that dialogue match up. And of course, we rely heavily on our directors for help in that.
Awesome. Now, what was something that was that happened during the recordings for you that was funny or memorable?
Well, I mean, we of course we're working on this game for months and months, and so little in-jokes crop up. For example, I should go or I have to go tends to be Shepard's catchphrase because both Jennifer and I had to say that thousands of times. So even when I wasn't recording that, I have to go was my signal to the booth that I needed to take a bathroom break or whatnot. So, so just a little in jokes that developed there. We also, of course, did some joke takes just for the sound guys back at BioWare. We had to be careful because we were doing those, and at one point my director was like, I don't know if we can do those anymore. Some of them, there's a chance they might get into the game.
Which would be enjoyable for us, I feel.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad at all. I'll take a whole other disc of blooper of Mass Effect and play that.
I'm sure they exist somewhere.
Nice. Well, so what would you say? I know we kind of touched on it. What's your favorite aspect of the game? Because you're a gamer as well. I mean, you played through all of them. Hearing you talk at MegaCon, you're a gamer like any one of us.
I am, and I tend to gravitate towards the RPGs. Those are the kind of games I prefer. Like the long story games, the ones where you build up your character, level them up, all your equipment and stuff like that. And of course, with Mass Effect, also developing relationships with all the NPCs, and so I quite enjoy that.
And have you gotten started with Star Wars: The Old Republic yet?
I have not, because I tend not to play online games. I have actually,
Oh, okay.
I have denied myself Xbox Live just because I know myself too well. I'm a weak man, and
Right.
my productivity would drop to zero. I already spend so much time doing my various nerdy hobbies. So yeah,
Right.
I've managed to be strong-minded enough to keep myself off Xbox Live.
You recently tweeted the. I was telling Doug about this. You recently tweeted the. It's my job to just man Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him that I was listening to you on the Irrelevant show. You posted the bears bear proofing.
Right, the bear seminar. So
The bear
Yeah,
seminar,
yes.
which I thought was hilarious. Your comedy in that is so classic.
oh, thanks. Yeah, I did write that one. Yeah, and played the.
Right.
Yeah.
I told him. Yeah. So definitely need to check that out. But
Oh yeah, I'm
very
always
cool.
on my Twitter feed, which is of course Mark_Meer on
Yes.
Twitter, and I'm constantly posting sketches from the Irrelevant show, which is the national CBC radio show that I do here. It's a sketch show, and also Caution May Contain Nuts, which is a television show up here in Canada on APTN. So I'm often putting sketches from that up there.
So are you more at home then in the recording booth or on stage doing your improv comedy? What's kind of feels best to you?
Well, there's something about performing in front of a live audience that's really hard to beat. The recording booth is great because you don't have to shave or even wear pants. You can show up however you want, really. And I do enjoy obviously doing voices in video games, but stage stuff is what I do mostly, and a large part of that is improv. So I would say I do tend to gravitate towards that more. I work with Rapid Fire Theatre up here in Canada, who we also post sketches on YouTube. Those tend to be written but developed through improv. And with Dynasty, the live improvised soap opera, and we just celebrated our 20th season of that, and that's sort of like as the name would indicate, it's a continuing storyline, a narrative that goes through. We change up the setting and characters every year, but. Yeah, that one's been long running. Nathan Fillion is actually alumni of that. He came back and played with us for the end of our season last year.
Right. We were going to say that about the Dynasty Soapathon that you actually were on stage. Is this correct, for 53 hours straight?
Yes, the Soapathon is something that we do as a fundraiser for every season of Dynasty. We do it in the fall, and it's basically it used to be up to 53 hours. We scaled it back because we were just going so late on Sunday night that it's like, well, the audience can only stay so long, and what do we have to prove? We already done it for 53 hours a bunch of years. But now it's a 50-hour show, and I was the first one to do it all the way through without sleeping. And in subsequent years, of course, many other actors have done it. We started this back in, I think, 1993 or so. We then had people from England, a group called the School of Night and the Sticking Place. They've come and performed in ours, and since then they were inspired to start their own in London. I'm actually going to be in London in May doing their improvathon at Hoxton Hall. And I think the May one will actually be my 20th time all the way through without sleep.
Oh wow!
So
20 times.
What happens to the brain? What's happened to maybe you can walk us through the process.
Well, I mean, sleep deprivation and performing, that combination is pretty magical because by the end of it you haven't been yourself for over 2 days. And one of the great things I like about it is when you're, maybe 36 hours in, your character can refer back to something that happened, some wild thing. Like, remember when we went on that giant squid hunt? And you're not making it up because that actually happened. You actually did that with those characters, and the audience was there to see it. And, or some of them, because of course the audience grows and shrinks. We do have some people who stay for the entire 50 hours.
So they should.
Yeah.
If you're up there for 50 hours,
be there
50 hours.
Yeah, and of course, extremely wild narratives develop, and in the wee hours of the morning, the gates of hell can sometimes open. Literally, you could. So it's one of my favorite things to do, actually. The first few years, it was like being on acid, essentially. Like by the end, you're hallucinating. You're seeing things that aren't there. It's hard to control your own functions, mental.
Oh my god!
But
I work for 8 hours, and after that, I feel the same way.
Right.
So
yeah, I noticed it. Productivity.
You just. Whew.
However, in subsequent years, I found that I still get tired. Like I certainly get tired, but I don't get to that completely insane place. And I kind of miss the hallucinations, actually.